This lesson is to help you become familiar with taking and working your lessons in a SimPath. There are two things I realized I forgot when I was talking about the pretest, so let's go back for just a moment. One thing is students only have one attempt at the pretest, and students only have one attempt at each question on the pretest. Again, that's just to move you through quickly, and if you make a careless error, that careless error just counts. Worst thing that happens is you have to actually review that lesson content, which is not a bad thing. So the pretest can only be taken once. Each question you only have one attempt at. The other thing, if you look at the calendar, you will notice that the pretest option is only available on or before the calendar date. Even though you have until maybe the end of the week to take all 4 SimPaths, if it's past the calendar assignment date, that pretest option won't be available and you will only be given the complete lesson list. So to take advantage of the pretest, do it on or before the calendar assignment date. I have had students that have just started the interim by going through and knocking out all the pretests first just to have themselves set up for just the lessons they need to take. But again, every student's different how they approach this. So based on the pretest score or skipping the pretest, a lesson set is assigned to each student. When you take the lesson, it loads. And this first pretest, again, it's on computer concepts, and it's a little bit different. It's a lot more content heavy. When you go through your lessons, the lessons are the meat of this course. Your post-test, the questions come straight from this content. I highly recommend getting a notebook for this class, taking notes as you go through these lessons. The lessons themselves are very easy to complete for credit. You can go through and you can knock out all the let me tries. That's how you get credit. However, you may miss the content because the let me try does not cover all of the content in the lesson. So, for example, in this first module, there's a lot of reading, and you would just make sure you scroll down and you feel comfortable with this. If there's something you're not sure of, take note of. Now, to get credit for the lesson, all you have to do is complete the Let Me Try. The Let Me Try just asks you a series of 1 to 3 questions based on the content in what we call the Teach Me page, the lesson content. For each one of these, if you're not sure, you can select a hint. Sometimes the hints are not as helpful. On the concepts, when we get into the application, the hints are more very direct. But you must complete the Let Me Try in order to and select done. It says incorrect. So it would let you know if it's incorrect. Now, just like on the pretest, I selected all of them there. On the pretest, once you get it incorrect, it doesn't allow you to do it again. However, on the Let Me Try, you can do this as many times as you want until you get the answer correct. I would say if you get the answer incorrect, you should probably just close the Let Me Try and come back to the lesson, because obviously there was something in here that you didn't retain that you'll probably need to know. So, and then come back and attempt it again. Now notice this was the first part. I select done. When I select correct, it says next. It takes me to the next question. You need to complete all 3 steps in order to get this correct. You need to get all 3 of these questions correct. Oops, that one didn't take. Make sure that it's selected. when you go through here, answer the questions. Again, remember there can be more than one answer. For example, it says select the 4 correct answers. So that one, the hint's a little bit easier. Going, okay, there wasn't just 2. It says all 4. But take time to look at it and understand why that's right. Notice that it now says you have successfully completed the Let Me Try. Close it. And it will bring you back to the lesson and show that you've completed this task. You can then use the arrow here to go to the next page and go through all the content again. At any point in time, you can also navigate and look at the table of contents of the lessons that you need to create, or that should load. I don't know why it's not right now, but it indicates I did complete the first one. Normally you would have a list there. I'm not sure why that didn't work. But so you would read, take your notes, complete the Let Me Try, and move on. Now, it's very, very important. This is important, listen, especially for my Mac users. At any point in time, you don't have to sit down and knock out all these lessons at one time. You can sit down and do a few, come back to it and do it later. However, whenever you come to a stopping point, you need to exit the lesson. This is what saves your work, submits it, and gives you credit. I stress this because so many of my Mac users, and I'm guilty of this too, when I want to stop, I simply just close my lid. But what's going to happen is SimNet, if you leave it open without exiting the lesson set, and I would say exit your account, what will happen is even if you just close your lid, you're going to time out of the system and you're going to disconnect from me. So that when you open your machine again and everything's there and you start working, you're going to be able to navigate, you're going to be able to do the Let Me Try, but you are no longer connected to me, so you're not getting credit for it. The best thing you can do is whenever you come to a stopping point, regardless of if you're on a PC or a Mac, is always close your lesson set and sign out of SimNet. Now, if you want to leave this browser window open, that's fine. But it's always best to make sure that every time you are starting work, you are logging in again. Okay? So important. Then, when you do so, and you come back, go to take a lesson, and it will, let's see if our navigation's working yet. That's frustrating. Hopefully that'll work for you. But anyway, you can just go back through and find where you left off, where you don't have a check mark, and you can begin again. Now, I want to show you this real quick. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get out of this pretest. This lesson set, and I'm going to go down to one of these word ones real quick. I'm going to skip it. I'm going to take a lesson. Okay. Now, all of your application-based lessons, that concepts only had a Let Me Try. All of your applications are going to have kind of 5 things in addition to the Teach Me page. We call this the Teach Me page. And in the applications, the Teach Me page is a little bit shorter. It basically says, this is the skill, this is how you need to do it, what you need to know about it. Go all the way down. Do not forget the tips and tricks and tell me more. This is really good information. This is also testable information. So make sure that you are looking at the tips and tricks, the tell me more. And, again, treat this class like you would any other class. If you were going through a history book, hopefully you'd be outlining your chapters and taking notes. Do the same thing in this class. Now, at the top, not only do you have a Let Me Try, you also have a Show Me, which is an audio-visual component.
To open Word, first click the Start button.
I think you get the idea
Word
there.
in the list of apps.
All right.
And click it to.
So you have the Show Me, which is an audio-visual. I'm very visual. If somebody shows me how to do it, I can do it. So that is there. You also have a Guide Me, which is a baby step of taking you through the skills. It says, click this, and you click it. And then it says, click that, and you click it. And so it baby steps you through certain skills. Then the Let Me Try has you put all those skills together. You are not required to do the show me. You're not required to do the guide me. You are still required to do the let me try. However, the show me and the guide me are there for you if you are having trouble, or if it's something you've never done before. I have a lot of people when they get to Excel and Access, they always begin with the show me, because that's, that helps them understand what they're going to read better. Or if you're having trouble with the let me try, come back to the lesson, go back through the show me, go back through the guide me, go back through the lesson content. Again, don't just go through all your let me tries, because the question could be on anything on this page, not just what's in the let me try material. Let's see if this navigation's working. There you go. That's what it should look like. So you can always, when you find a stopping place, as you complete the let me tries, these things will be checked off. So you can always come back in and pick up wherever you left off. So you'll go through the lesson set. Whenever you submit work, okay, I said make sure that whenever you come to a stopping place, you exit. The other thing you want to do is you always want to check your grades, because even if you did one or two of the skills and stopped, you still want to make sure that that credit was submitted and you got that 4% credit. And it's going to be the student's responsibility to always check their grade book to make sure things are submitted. So often, people think they've submitted it because they finished it and it didn't get submitted. It's your responsibility to make sure that things are successfully submitted before the due dates. Now, if you reach out to me and say, hey, I didn't get credit for whatever, I'm going to say, well, just do it again. It's that easy. As long as you're checking your grades and you know it's missing before the due date, just do it again. And just completing the lessons successfully. Everybody should have a 100 on their lessons. And all the lessons, all 14 lesson scores, are going to average together to make one test grade. So everybody should at least have 100 for that test, for their lesson average. However, this is what I mean. Just because you complete your lessons does not mean you're prepared for the post-test. Actually study the content in the lessons. Study the notes. Utilize the practice section. We're going to talk about the practice session next in the next video. Hopefully that was just a really quick overview of the lessons, but I think you'll get the hang of it. If you have any questions, just let me know.